Hello, and welcome to Let's Play Nioh, Episode 7. In today's episode, we'll be doing some submissions and then doing the main mission, The Ocean Roars Again. Here is the 3 angry gods. In this mission, you have to fight 3 of those big guys with long tongues, each one representing a different element to unlock the other 2 guardian spirits that you did not choose at the beginning of the game. So we'll be unlocking Kaito and Isunade. I won't be showing off the entire submission because it's in an area we've already tread over. Here is the final one I was fighting to represent Isunade, the water spirit. Now for The Ocean Roars Again, hired by Kobayakawa Hideaki. In the previous episode, when talking about them, him and Kikawa Hiroie, I accidentally mixed them up with their parents. So everything I said about who they are being adopted into other clans by underneath the order of their father, Motonari, that was their parents that did that, and then these 2 are trying to live up to their parents. Sorry for the mix-up. There are a lot of names to remember, and who exactly people are sometimes gets a little bit mixed up in my brain. So if you recall, a giant sea creature attacked the Lifta and caused us to have to be shipwrecked here in this region, which is part of why we're working with the Mori clan. So we're finally here to deal with the giant sea monster that had attacked us so that we can be free to sail again. That creature is called an Umi-Bozu. I'll give a link to some sources of where you can read more about them. They're known as like sea monks, sea Buddhist monks, because of their rounded head is similar to the shaved head of a Buddhist monk. There is a story about how, when angered, they'll ask for a barrel to fill with salt water. And if the barrel does have a bottom, it'll get filled with salt water and sink a ship. But that's why you need a bottomless barrel to sail with, so they can just keep filling the water and it'll never fill up. They're more so seen as spirits of, that appear similar to monks themselves, not as the giant sea creature we see here. Japanese sailors were always quite afraid of these creatures because it was seen as so dangerous, and of course a giant sea monster is something to be afraid of if you believe it exists. But there is actually something real to the mythology of this creature as being seen as this ship-destroying creature that appears normally in water that is very calm. If you look at the water around here, it's actually pretty calm. The idea is that the Umi-Bozu might have been representative of people dealing with rogue waves that can just happen out on the sea whenever. They don't really give a warning. For these littler creatures that are like smaller versions of the Umi-Bozu, you want to bait them into attacking and then dodge and then hit them when they're weak. I believe I'm about to parry. This was the first time I parried in all of Nioh. I've done multiple playthroughs, and that is the first time I've used the parry properly. Parrying in this game is much harder than it is in Dark Souls. In fact, in general, I don't use many of the samurai skills that you unlock. I mostly just focus on the ones on ki. But back to talking about those little water creatures that I was fighting, the big sloshy, sludgy creatures. They are weak to fire. Normally when you hit them it deals almost no damage. It just does a little bit of stamina damage. You want to wait until their yellow cores are exposed to hit them. They are weak to fire. For some reason. Sometimes the resistances in Nioh don't make the most sense, because if those are creatures made of water, weak to fire. I don't entirely get it unless it's supposed to be some sort of message on pollution. But I don't know that around Sengoku period the oceans of Japan were polluted. Not like the rivers of Europe at the time. Fighting another Revenant. I usually just do stick of gear and a bit of glory. You'll find out later on what glory is used for. But it's basically the honor or PvP currency of Nioh. Sometimes the summonable Revenants actually do have stories to them. It happens a bit more later on, but you'll see that they're actual historical figures that have died. Oh yeah, to talk a little bit about the Kodama. I don't entirely know a lot about them. I know that traditionally they were seen as like tree spirits. As these like creatures or gods of nature or kami. If I recall correctly, they're seen more as being tree-like or invisible. I know in the film Princess Mononoke they appear. I've seen images of them before as these almost childlike creatures made of like stone and tree. I'm not entirely sure where the inspiration for the Kodama come for in this game. Perhaps even from Princess Mononoke as a reference. So this level is pretty long. It has a lot of different paths you can go down to, a lot of different secrets. This episode would be very long if I ended up showing off everything. It's also a very dangerous level because it's very easy to fall off of all the small little paths that you have to walk across. Especially when you have a broken control stick like me. I also apologize if you hear the sound of squeaky toys. The puppies are playing. I really wish Revenants didn't just block after your first hit on them. It makes combat with them a little bit boring and just feels like standing out of range and poke, stand out of range and poke. Always remember when you're in those yokai realms, those yokai zones, you can just do a quick attack and then wait for the key pulse to be ready and then pulse and you'll get rid of it. I will be leveling up my spirit a bit so that I can get some of the bonuses from Guardian Spirits more. I'm using Kato. Kato is probably who I should have picked from the beginning. A part of the reason I picked Kato for this mission is that the boss, the Umi-Bozu, is weak to fire. So when I living weapon, I'm going to be dealing extra damage to it. I also hope I don't spoil that anyone that the boss is that thing, but that's exactly what this mission is about. Also, always remember you can hit yokai in the heads with a well-placed strike, and that will knock them down and give you a free critical hit on them. It only works once per fight, though. I guess they'd be a bit too easy if you could just infinitely stun lock them like that. So we've been running around and lighting these fires. These are to ward away yokai. At least that's what's said. What they really do is that big fire off in the distance, it lights those up. And that will aid us during the boss fight. Making sure I have my fire weapon ready. Supposedly more about the Umi-Bozu, which I feel like I pronounce differently every time and I pronounce it wrong, which I probably am. Since it kind of melds in with the water, an idea is that you can just hit the water with oars every now and then, and if it cries out in pain, that means one's right there. Now, a lot of yokai and creatures in Japanese folklore are very regional. They're territorial. They focus on one place and one place alone. The Umi-Bozu is seen as one that can wander around all of Japan because they cover the oceans and the seas. There are more specific stories about the Umi-Bozu, dealing with sailors and sailors talking about their like instances. I'm not sure though if the creature is still believed in. It might be in certain areas and regions. And we found a hot spring. Time for some nice relaxation. Oh yeah, to talk a little bit more about Japanese armor. A similar thing about it is that when it comes to putting it on, it's a lot like Western armor in that you start from down and keep working your way upwards. You start at the feet and you end at the head. There are diagrams and manuscripts on how to put on the armor. It also involves putting on a specific robe that you wear beneath the armor. So that's considered a part of arming. Similar to wearing an arming doublet or an arming jacket in Western armor. When you see an enemy that may make an encounter difficult, it can be very beneficial to just shoot them in the head and take them out. Especially if they're some sort of archer or gunner. That also means they generally have less health. We're also going to be fighting Suharukata. I don't know what exactly he's doing right here. He was a samurai who had betrayed the Ouchi clan. He had done so after a terrible, terrible, disastrous battle at, I believe it was called Gassen Toda Castle. He performed a coup against Ouchi Yoshitaka. He did not kill him, but led him to commit suicide. Afterwards, he basically took over the Ouchi clan. I know that he used the son of Yoshitaka as a surrogate to rule the clan. Eventually, he was defeated in the Battle of Oshikibata by Motonari... not Motonari, Mori Motonari. It was a sort of decisive battle and one where he was tricked and defeated. Mori Motonari was a very, very sneaky person. He was very wise. He was very good at deceiving his enemies, at planning in the long term. By this time he is dead, though. The Mori clan is also known for their story of the three arrows. I'm not sure where the story originates from. You see versions of it in different cultures. But the idea is that you have three separate arrows. Each one you can break easily in your hand. But when you bunch them together, like a bunch of sticks, they suddenly together become harder to break. It's a story about unity and working together. Supposedly, Mori Motonari taught that lesson to his sons before they took over the Kikawa and the Kobayakawa clan, or Kobayaki clan. Welcome to the Umi-Bozu. This fight can be difficult at first. It's all about learning patterns. As soon as you understand all of the patterns of the boss, where to stand, what to do, where to move, it's very easy. As well, as we've been lighting those fires around, it lights these greater fighters in this region. What that does is, normally 3 smaller versions of the Umi-Bozu come out. But when they launch in, they instantly land on these fires. When he does 2-armed attacks like this, you want to walk back and then a little bit to the left. The right arm will fall short, the left arm will go long. You can simply strafe a lot of his fired shots. When you see him charging up like that forward, he's going to fire a beam that will one-shot you, unless you have resistance to water that's quite high. You can either run up and hit the core or use ranged weapons to hit him when he's exposed. When he is using one arm, you want to wait. Don't dodge too early because it'll adjust. Get ready, and as soon as you see it start coming down upon you, that is when you dodge. You want to hit the golden/yellow parts of the hand. That's where it's weakest at. You can use the fires around the arena to put fire on your weapon to deal additional damage to the Umi-Bozu, but in doing so will allow more of the smaller ones to spawn around the area. So I like to leave the fires there, because they can be a real pain during this fight. Because while dealing with them, the Umi-Bozu may fire this beam and just one-shot you while you're not paying attention. It jumps from side to side, going around the arena. Stand either in the middle or towards the gate to avoid being hit, because it can hit you during that. When firing the pieces of ships or the water blobs, just strafe or dodge if you feel the need. The beam you can dodge, you can run. Depending on the weapon you're using, you can get additional attacks in on the arms when they come down. The katana is very good for this fight because you can generally get in 4 hits. To do so, you want to unlock and you want to do 3 hits on the arm, and then as it's pulling back in the air, while unlocked, aim your body towards it and the 4th hit will land. It's a bit tricky, but it does work. As you can maybe tell, I've done this fight quite a few times. I have a lot of practice on it. Now, when it's below half health, it will jump up and land in the middle of the arena, and it will again spawn 3 more smaller versions of itself. If you stand next to it, it will jump up and slam down and then leave the core exposed. If you stand a little bit far away, it'll try to slam down on you from a range like this, and the core will be exposed in a different area each time. You want to just keep dodging and hitting it. Get ready to block for when it does that arm swing. You can dodge it, but it's really fast. Using my living weapon here to deal additional damage, you'll see just how much damage it takes from fire. Sometimes it will continue to fire its ranged attacks, but I find that very rare. When it jumps up, let its core get exposed, hit it a few times, and then back away because it will explode again. Sometimes you want to dodge twice, just to be sure that you get out of the range of the slam. When its body kind of bunches up like that, it's going to do that extend attack instead of slamming that. You generally want the slam because then the core is exposed and you can deal additional damage. Be wary of how it moves around the arena, because while strafing it and attacking it, you may fall off of the edge and die. That may or may not have happened to me before. And that is the Umi-Bozu. Also, don't forget to check the corners, since the creatures that get summoned in drop loot. And here I was just showing that, yeah, you can light your blade on fire with that, but it puts the fire out. So I apologize if you hear clawing at the door. My puppies want in the room. We'll be switching out of the Western Warrior armor as it starts to trail off now in how much defense it has.
Nioh 家康殿は西国の調略を進めておる。毛利では異国の者まで連れておったぞ。東国の守備はどうじゃ、大谷行部殿。
信州真田はこちらにつきましょう。しかし東国は今や徳川が本拠。多くの大名がすでに密約を結んでおりまする。
三成殿も人気がないの。
いやはや全く。いかにすればここまで嫌われることができましょ
う。ならば物のわからぬ大名どもに今一度義を解こう。
文か。また義を振りかざして敵を増やさぬといいが。家康殿には正攻法では勝てぬ。わしと共に手を汚してくれんか、行部殿よ。
もはやろくに目も見えず下法で生きておる身。今さら正道を歩もうと神仏の救いは受けられますまい。この者が太宰府に秘匿された五国の霊石を見つけ、こたびの戦で役立ててはと申しておりまする。
わしらも異国の者に頼ると申すか。
The person we just saw with the cloth over their face, that is Otani Yoshitsugu. He was a retainer of Toyotomi Hideyoshi and was a trusted military strategist and general. He suffers from leprosy and was dying at this time, with this game using the idea that the dark magic of Edward Kelly is keeping him alive. Now here is Marume Nagayoshi. This is another historical figure. He is a very famous swordsman. He had, before Yoshiteru, shown his power and his ability with a blade. He studied fencing under Kamizumi Nobutsuna. He's part of the reason why Yoshiteru ended up studying the blade as he did underneath the master he did in the school that he did. Marume Nagayoshi is, again, just very famous. You can read a lot about him. All of his different trials and journeys. He performed before the Emperor. He was a part of the Sagara clan. He was blamed for a lot of its mistakes in battle and was punished severely for it when they were defeated by the Shimazu clan. Later on, he got out of that and was able to travel and teach in schools of swordsmanship and take on a lot of new students. So he's here for testing our skill with the blade, our skill as a warrior, to unlock additional skills that we can learn for the samurai trees. He's honestly a pretty fun fight. I probably should have edited this part to edit out this black screen. Normally I do, and I can't believe I forgot this one. But we finished training with him. Now we've unlocked new samurai skills. As this mentions right here, bridges are very important in Japanese folklore, with the idea of them being a bridge to another realm that yokai and other spirits may come through. This is a submission that we'll just be very quickly going over, again, to show off the map. This whole level is just about fighting yokai on this bridge. I find it a bit annoying because there are holes in the bridge at certain points that you can fall through pretty easily. Also, I just noticed, Hideaki here kind of looks like Justin McElroy. Kinda. Another enemy I really hate in this game is the Tengu. They're just really fast, they hit hard, and they can completely avoid your guard by using wind attacks. You can get them trapped in a bit of loop like this of kicking, or you can get a few hits in, let them kick and dodge. It's a stamina war that they'll win though. So I got sick enough of it to use my living weapon. And even then, the thing doesn't go down very easily.
この名高き仁王が助け合い、毛利は西国で最も強く大きくなった。二人なき今、この力、かつての仁王に及ばぬのは明白。大戦の火の粉の中で毛利の家を守り通すこの難題、解く手立てなどあるほか。石田と徳川、そしりは免れまいが、勝った方に組みするしかあるまい。